So within my ISA, I have just sold one of my main dividend funds and I've replaced it with something new, completely different, and the eagle-eyed people in the comments will know maybe what I was looking into. Now, this is something that I don't do very often. I don't take it lightly because it is a long-term strategy, but you'll soon find out in this video why it makes absolute sense for me, my portfolio, and the ISA plan. But this new fund solves three very unique problems that I had, and you'll see why. And it does improve the dividend strategy massively for income and also diversification, which is what we need. Before we get into it, let me know in the comment section, would you do the same thing if it makes sense? And if you enjoy the journey, like the video. So for a bit of context for anyone new, my ISA strategy is different to most. I am 34 years old and I'm building an income fund. I know, I'm young. I look young too, don't I? However, thus being said, I do hold Bitcoin. I do have a lot of growth mechanisms around that, which is important for this. So this is diversification. Don't get all airy in the comments going, you shouldn't be doing this. Shut up. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine, right? I've done this for 12 years now, but this is a brand new portfolio. It's pretty new. And if you are new, you'll see that. However, dividend portfolio growth is the plan. And that is a key word you need to remember. Dividend growth. Dividend growth. Not the growth of the portfolio in terms of asset value. Dividend growth, right? Long-term compounding with the goal of hitting some lofty numbers in the next 20 years, pretty much, right? So as you can imagine, I have sold something and we're going to get into why I've sold it. But as I'm going to explain, it will make complete sense once you finish this video. Now, I've sold the TDGB fund, the Developed Markets Dividend Leaders. Now, I'm going to say it now. This is still a fantastic fund and I will still recommend it to anyone. It has good growth, good year-to-date returns already, but it has a couple of problems if you're like me in the UK, withholding tax. And we'll come on to that in a minute. It's not very ISA friendly, which is the first point of call here. Now, the reason why it's important, and I'll talk about certain things like the holdings, it's only got 100. That's also another problem I need to address. The portfolio is, as I say, very good. Its weight spread isn't too bad. It's mainly Europe in the developed markets, some of Asia, not much of Asia though. But as I said, withholding tax is basically 15% of the dividend I'm going to get is gone because of that. It is not a fund that is in the UK, pretty much, right? So there's an FX effect, it's in euros, and that is a big problem. So number two, big problem is currency exposure, foreign income, right? So it's I purchase in pounds, but it's actually in euros. So if the pound and the euro slip or whatever situation there may be in terms of the currency, the FX, it will be either good or bad. So that's another thing. The final thing as well, and I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy, the dividend structure didn't really kind of marry up with my portfolio strategy. This isn't the best fund for dividend growth. It's dividend leaders. So there may well be less stocks in terms of dividend growth investing. That is kind of where I want to be. So when we put them all three together, where you're losing some of your dividends, you're going to get FX effect, and it isn't really aligning with the overall strategy, it kind of makes sense. As daft as it's going to sound, this is going to sound daft, I know. I don't want to be in funds that are volatile and they're going to do very, very big runs, right? I don't. I want income based off growth, not the growth of the price, as I said before, growth of the dividend. I want each dividend within the fund to grow. And I'll showcase in a minute on Snowball what I mean by that in terms of yield on cost. So that's important. But honestly, it's still a good fund. I would still recommend it. Just doesn't fit my portfolio. And when you add together those, it's important. And you'll see why the new one is even better. Because the new fund is brand new. And if you've been watching the comment section, people have been talking about this quite a lot in my comment section. I do want to say thank you to all the people that did mention it and also the people that emailed me as well, asking, look into this because this looks... And once I saw it, so I did a bit of research over the last 2 weeks or so when I was in Tenerife. I thought, this is the dog's bollocks, this fits me like a glove. When I talk about my overall portfolio, this is perfect, and you'll see why. I know it's new, but there's also one thing that I didn't talk about in the previous bit, the expense ratio. It's a little bit cheaper, quite a lot cheaper actually when you think about it, 0.29%, which is quite low, When you look at the Van Heck one, it was 0.3, I think it was, something like that. I think it was 0.38. So I'm already saving money there as well in terms of holding it. Not much, but enough. So that's also important. But this is, as you can imagine, new. There's not a load of data, and this is the data that we have. Now, when we talk about this as an overall fund, as you can see, squeaky bloody clean. But let's talk about the numbers, and let's talk about why this is important. So there's one thing that you may have picked up on. This here, dividend frequency, monthly. Oh, how many monthly funds do you get? Not many. So that is also very, very important. And also, this fund is kind of divided around dividend growth versus, say, dividend leaders, if that makes sense. So it's quality. With this, it has, as it stands at the minute, roughly 4% dividend yield, which is important. Global dividend exposure, which I will come on to in more detail in a second, because you can see over here, down here, the world regions, you got 33% in America, 37% Europe, and you got 29% currently in Asia. So this is actually giving me a lot more Asia exposure in the past. It's not giving me any more US that I want, realistically, which is important, but still covers Europe, which is a good market currently. There's no withholding tax, which is important, and it is a Great British Pound kind of fund, if that makes sense. I'm buying in pounds. I know there will be some US market exposure there. I can't get away from that. But if you're buying in dollars or euro, you're going to have that FX effect. But let's talk about what is in the fund. It is quite heavily financed, which I get, that's fine. But I don't really hold many finance individual stocks, so that's okay. But when we scroll down a little bit, when we talk about this is obviously going to be massively important. And I've talked about this before. And this is a thing. When we talk about the likes of other markets, it's the first time in a long time I feel balanced in my funds, because in the previous setup, it was mainly Europe and the US. Now I've got a bit of Asia in there. That's quite important realistically. So when we scroll down and we look at certain things, we can see we've got obviously Samsung, Hyundai, or Hindi, if I've said it right. Yeah, you get the idea. There's a lot of things here. But also the top 10 weight is only 3.5%. There's also 914 holdings. 941, sorry. I have dyscalculia, if you're wondering. I say numbers back to front. I know. Why are you following a YouTuber who's got dyscalculia? Ha! I know, sorry. But you get the idea. However, dividends, the goal of the dividends over the course of time is, hopefully, fingers crossed, to grow. And I said, I will come on to that in a minute. So hopefully over the course of time, that will gradually grow as it matures. So it'll be quite important. That doesn't mean yield. It means whatever's in the fund is growing at dividend yield. Therefore, you get yield on cost. That's important. Also, I know it's new, but there's already 4.23 billion under management. So it's already pretty bloody popular considering. And as you can see, it's getting very, very popular over the course of time. Obviously, 1 billion has been added to this very recently. That is my entire portfolio. Bang! It's not really. But this does fit my strategy nicely because it does have and allows me to get more dividend payout, which is important. Now, if you watched my previous video, you would have seen that I would have had some big payouts in the summer. This equals it out more. It has also bigger gains for tax efficiency. Even though it's in an ISA, realistically, I'm not losing any withholding tax. I am going to get a dividend from the previous fund that I held, TDGB, but ultimately I'm going to lose a bit of that very, very soon. And it's simple, more simplicity. The goal isn't just to grow and use my money to calculate it and go, woohoo. The idea is to allow it to be self-sufficient, to allow me over the course of time to let it grow with the income and then compound that. Reinvesting, compounding, and the snowball effect of that is going to be key eventually. And I know all the naysayers, like, oh, you don't just buy an accumulation fund. It doesn't work in the same way. After year 10, you're going to see that very quickly. It doesn't matter what way you talk about it, you're going to lose. But in terms of this, the split is a little bit different. As you know, 30%, 25%, 20% roughly, give or take. So it is a little bit lower. I may well add to that over the course of time. It is a dividend growth kind of fund. Now, the assets on Snowball, and there's a link below to this if you're interested. There's a free trial. You can jump in, get into your portfolio, get into the whole nitty gritty of it. There isn't massive amounts of information here yet because it is quite new. But once it gets updated, it'll start to split out. But ultimately, you can see where the others is. It's basically showcasing what that other fund is. So the split between the entire funds, pretty good considering at the minute, obviously there is some missing data there. However, Let me talk about the dividend. So I've been mentioning dividend growth, not the price growth. So as you can see here, the UK one is doing really well. That's fitting the glove. This one is already growing, considering it's quite new. And then we've got this one here. The goal is to get the yield on cost growing. The longer you hold an asset, the better it will be. Long story short. So I am considering what to do with the weights of these portfolios. Obviously, it's a new portfolio. I might split it down the middle completely, so it's all, between the three. It's split out equally, which is fine. But at the minute, the main one, the All World Fund, currently is the top one, which is fine. But as you can see with some of my individual stocks, the yield on cost is doing fantastic because I'm reinvesting the dividends. That's zero cost. That's important. And more importantly, the price is doing well. Overall, portfolio 3.83% yield on cost, which is great. And everything is looking perfect. And as you can see here, this is the annual growth. This is where the magic is. Even the one with the lowest amount of annual growth. Now, this, by the way, it's fine. This is dividends, by the way, not the actual price of the asset, if you're wondering. Overall, in terms of metrics, as you can see, it's starting to snowball. Obviously, I'm putting more money in, but already we're there. It's only very, very early. So we should be into the 2000 plus, hopefully more if we're going to talk about it in terms of long term. As you can see here, dividend growth is going to be pretty key on this fund here. But yeah, for anyone that's talking in the comment section about certain things, I'll be honest with you, I don't often change funds. I think I've got into a settled rhythm now that I'm very, very happy overall. And yes, over the course of time, I do need more data on this fund, but it is what I see anyways, really, really good. It will take a bit of time for things to populate on here better, but once it does, it'll be fine. But regardless of however way you look at it, there will be better options that will appear, like a Pokemon in the wild, right? You will have to make a decision. And for me, it just made clear sense. It just made, oh, I'm going to save money. It's going to have no withholding tax, and it's going to have better diversification with also more stocks. So I've only got one fund with low amount of stocks, which is the UK one, which is fine. I could have had either the FTSE 100 or that one. I went with that one. I've got the All World Fund, which covers the big blanket, and then you've got this one, the small blanket. Kind of just makes sense. And they all do three different things as well, which is quite important. But let's be honest, monthly dividends, amazing. I've always wanted monthly dividends. I've always liked the idea of investing into like realty income or something like that, but it's US. Don't want it. Anyways, let me know what you think. If you prefer this type of fund now, or if you prefer the old one, let me know. And if you've not yet done so, watch this more about ETFs. It may well help you with certain things. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. As I said before, the old fund's still great. The new fund, I think, is better.